welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Happy Friday to you all. I am so happy that we made it to the weekend. I really needed this weekend, and I generally don't try to live my life working for the weekend, but this is a weekend that I needed. I definitely need this one, and so I hope that it is your weekend too, and that you are looking forward to it. I know that a lot of us are still have to be at home and stuff, but I hope that you're able to get out, maybe go for a hike, go for a walk, go for a jog, a run, whatever you like to do, and maybe find some new hobbies to try. I'm excited because I'm probably going to get out and take some pictures this weekend, and I really want to work on actually getting some videos filmed for some mental wellness content to be helpful for people, and just get some stuff done, get some laundry done. I have some goals. So anyway, happy Friday. I hope that you're having a good day. If this is the beginning of your day, I hope that it ends up being an amazing day. If you're in the middle of your day or towards the end, I hope that it was really great as well. And remember that if you did have a crappy day and you're just feeling so negative and you are not about anything for the rest of your day, you're I'm just over it. I get it. We've all been there. But I encourage you to spend 5 minutes, and I need to come up with a name for it, but it's that 5 minutes of reset time, 5-minute reset or whatever, where you take 5 minutes at least. I would encourage you to take more if you can, but I would say at least 5 minutes where you can be by yourself, you're able to reboot, restart, just come back to baseline and realize, okay, I'm going to try to find some time I'm going to think about how can I problem solve and the issue that is bothering me and getting in my way, and how can you walk away feeling okay, feeling like you don't want to light the world on fire kind of thing. That's generally how I get when things just really drive me crazy. So and then be able to enjoy the rest of your day as much as you can. At least walk away feeling neutral about it. Maybe you don't necessarily feel the best about it, the most positive person in the world, and that's okay. No one is required to be positive all the time, absolutely not. But I would encourage you to feel at least neutral so that you continue to feel grateful for the things that you're still going in your life, things that are still going well, because just because a couple bad things happen doesn't mean that you need to throw the whole day away. And so just remember that, just be able to come away and be okay, I can still get through the rest of the day, it's still going to be okay, make the most of it as best I can, not a negative attitude, just a neutral attitude, and just get through to the next day. So anyway, again, happy Friday. Just a reminder that this week we are talking about codependency, and we are on our last day of this topic this week. And every Friday comes around and I'm I have no idea what we're talking about next week, but I will decide soon. Sometimes I've already have it planned out, and other times I'm just not sure how I feel. It's a secret to all of us, what's coming next week, but I'm sure it'll be another great topic. Maybe I'll pick something a little bit more lighthearted, I'm not sure. But again, this week we're talking about codependency, and today, Friday, we're going to talk about how to break the vicious cycle of codependency. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. I am going to get right to the point in this episode and lay out some real tips on how to become less codependent, and I want to just get right to it because all the other episodes were super long. This one might end up being long as well, but I don't want it to drag on and on. I'm here to give some quick tips for you to work on being codependent, work on breaking away from that that lifestyle, that cycle of being codependent, pulling away from that, becoming more of your own person. So let's go ahead. If you'd like some more info sorry, I'm reading my notes, and sometimes when I read my notes, I'm what was I thinking when I wrote these notes? Because sometimes I'll forget words, and have you ever written something and you think you wrote all the words that happened in your head, but that did not happen? Yeah, that happened. That's right. That's what happened. Okay. If you would like some more info on what it means to be codependent and how it affects the person struggling with it, please go back and listen to all the previous episodes this week. I feel like I really broke it down very well, with Monday talking about what codependency is, and then going through for people pleasers, martyrs, all that stuff. So I would encourage you to go back and check that out, just so I don't drag on and on and on. But the first thing that I would like to recommend is creating boundaries. And if you're not new here, I talk about establishing personal boundaries all the time, and it's always very important. I'm very passionate about it. There's a whole week's worth of personal boundaries episodes. That was last week's topic. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please go ahead and listen to all those episodes because they're really good and really informative. But by creating boundaries, you will create personal limits that will prevent you from overextending yourself, becoming too emotionally involved, and creating time for yourself rather than running yourself ragged for everyone else. So you got to have those personal limits in place. You got to take the time to really evaluate like where in your life are you overstepping bounds, where you really need to pull back, you really need to focus on yourself, you need to actually focus on any issues that are happening in your life rather than focusing so hardly on other people's issues. Also, if you have like really rigid boundaries where you're not letting anyone in, you're not doing anything, you might want to reevaluate those as well to see if you need to loosen up a bit just so you can actually like improve relationships and actually have relationships and work on any sort of issues you may be struggling with to let people in and learn how to have trust and better communication. Learning to say no is another big thing to do. I know that codependents have a deep-seated need for everyone to like them, so it might be hard to say no despite wanting to, but it's something you have to start practicing as soon as possible to create those boundaries. Saying no is one of the hardest things, and it's hard to say no when you actually do want to do it, like truly in your heart, but you know that you need to not because you don't have the capacity to really be a part of that. And then it's also hard to say no when you actually want to say no, but you feel like you're being manipulated into saying yes. So you might want to evaluate that behavior, because that's the one that people will easily be able to take advantage of you if you continue to say yes when you actually need to be saying no. Learn how to support others without trying to take over the situation and save them from their problems. It's totally fine to give someone advice and encouragement, but let them deal with their problems on their own. Do not just go over and take over the problem, becoming the hero, flying in, just being like, oh, I can do this for you. I can take this over. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to like bother your pretty little head about it. No, you need to just support them, like by their side. Don't like try to stand in front of them and defend them. Just be there by their side. Ask them how they can support you, ask them how you can support them, and then let them lead you in that way. But also remember boundaries if they ask you to do things that they shouldn't be asking you to do. Learn to ask for help. I know it can be tough to ask for help because you want to be seen as the hero and take care of others on your own, but sometimes what you can offer may not be enough, and I know that can be a really hard truth for you to hear. Like if you're trying to help someone that's struggling with like an addiction problem or anything like that, and you're trying your hardest to support them and encourage them to go to like different like AA groups or to change their behaviors, but it's just becoming too much for you and you're running out of ideas and nothing is working, you just really need to step outside of yourself and realize that you need to ask for help, because this person, if you actually truly care about them and the relationship that you have, you'll actually want them to get better and you'll do whatever you can for that to happen, which means asking for help because you've run out of knowledge and ideas and capacity to help them, which is totally fine. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's totally fine. Change the way you think about yourself. You may think you are worthless, unimportant, have low self-esteem, and find validation in others praising you for helping them, but it is necessary to change your belief system and not always connect your self-worth with people, since not everyone will like you, which is another hard truth, because that's actually something that I battle with even still. I feel like I'm over it a lot more than I used to be, but just not everyone's going to like you, and they're going to have their own personal reasons for that, and honestly, you shouldn't be concerned about that because those are their reasons. There's no problem. Like, it might hurt because like you might really like them and they just don't like you, but you just have to accept it and move on because that's just the way the world is. So just remember that you need to change your belief system. You need to believe in yourself more. You need to care for yourself more. You can't always have that crutch of depending upon other people liking you so that you like yourself. Like, that's not always going to work. Stop being a martyr. I talked about that a lot yesterday. Always trying to make others like you by going all out for them puts you at risk of being manipulated and burning out from all that unnecessary sacrifice. Being a martyr, you're just out there sacrificing yourself. You're like just wanting to take on everything, shoulder every single burden. It'll definitely burn you out at some point, and it's just not necessary. You need to stop doing that. You need to realize that just trying to go all out to really impress people and have them like you for that, you will get taken advantage of, and that's definitely not a life anyone wants to lead. Stop taking responsibility for other people's actions. Everyone as adults is responsible for what they do and how they act. Do not try to swoop in and just take responsibility because they will love you more or care for you more, or you'll be validated in that, or you're trying to just and honestly, if you do that and they do have like some sort of serious addiction problem, you're just continually feeding into that, which is not healthy either. Stop trying to fix everything for others. Again, do not get in the way of other people trying to solve their own problems, because we all learn things when we're out there solving our own problems. So just be an assistant. You don't have to be the guide, just be an assistant. Stop being a people pleaser. That can be really hard because literally everything you do is dependent on people accepting you and you wanting everything to be neutral and common ground and not deal with any drama or any conflict. But you gotta stop. You gotta go over that. I am on a constant journey to move away from being a people pleaser, so I understand how difficult it is and how hard it is and how it's easy to fall back into those tendencies. But you gotta be self-aware of what you're doing and how you're acting and how that's affecting your day-to-day life and your mental wellness. Work on being able to communicate and express your emotions honestly and openly. One of the toughest things for codependents is actually being honest with how they're feeling, and they just want to kind of stuff their feelings down, push them to the side, not deal with them because they're spending so much time dealing with other people's feelings and problems, and honestly, you don't want to look over there and see what's going wrong in your life because you're so focused on making everyone else's life better that you're just kind of pushing that away. So you need to take the time to actually communicate and express how you feel, what you actually want to do, who you are and what you're about and what comes out of your heart and mind. That's not not manipulated, but that isn't influenced by someone else, the person that you're trying to support so wholeheartedly. Learn how to deal with conflict and stop avoiding it. This is another one, dealing with healthy communication skills. You have to be able to talk to someone, and I'm not saying you have to get into a fight with them or show any anger or rage or anything, but you need to be able to talk to them. You need to be able to have problem-solving skills and really just get through conflict and deal with it. Deal with people maybe coming at you more than you expect, but be able to have a good, strong demeanor and be calm and learn how to take in the things that you need to take in and then leave the things that you need to leave, depending upon what they say and how they act. Lastly, make sure you have people in your life that support you and are there to help you get better and become stronger in who you are, not who you're trying to mold into for someone else. So if you find that you're just struggling so hard with breaking away from these tendencies, these behaviors, you need to make sure that you have a support system. And even if that's just one person in your life or a few people, that's great. Or maybe you do feel lonely, or you're in a period of isolation in your life, and I mean outside of what's happening in the world, just general feeling isolated. I would encourage you to at least find a counselor or a coach or someone that you can confide in and talk to and get support from, and just really express to them what's going on, how you feel about it, and then they can give you some advice on how to change and how to grow and develop into the person that you truly want to be, that you may have pushed to the side for who knows how long. Maybe you feel like you're a shell of a person right now. I've definitely been there, where I literally don't even understand who I am, what I like, what I want to do, because my whole life was based upon what everyone else wanted to do, how I could be who they needed to be at that moment, just continuing shape-shifting into the person that they needed at the time and whatever they wanted me to do. So I understand how difficult it can be, absolutely, but it's so important that you take the time to really figure out who you are, what you're all about, and have those people behind you supporting you to continue to go on that journey. Even if it takes you forever, it's still important for you to be living that journey so that you actually enjoy life and live it to the fullest, and be able to bless the world with all your talents and ideas and thoughts and just who you are. So Well, that is it, my friends. I told you that it was gonna be not as long as the other ones. So I'm so happy that you decided to come back and join me here on the Real Positive Girl podcast. Again, my name is Sabrina. And if you found this episode helpful, which I really hope you did, I hope that you share it with someone and encourage them to listen. And yeah, I would really, really appreciate that. And I hope that you come back next week for next week's topic. Again, I don't know what it's going to be, but I know it's going to be something good. So check the description box for any notes for the show. There's always detailed notes for the show. And if you want to find me on Instagram, information for that's down there too, or send me an email with any questions, comments, concerns, or prayer requests, or whatever you want to talk about. But again, until next week, thank you so much for joining me here. I'm so appreciative for the people that continue to come back and any new people that decide to join and listen to the podcast. Also, if you ever have any suggestions, please, any of those two places, Instagram or email, please come by and let me know what you want me to talk about and do research about and share with you guys. But until next week, have a great weekend. Really enjoy it. And again, happy Friday. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.